Hey guys, welcome to the Starcastic Remarks Studios. My name is Ryan, and along with Chris, we are the Starcastic Remarks podcast. We follow the Dallas Stars for the THPN. Please go and use the promo code THPN next time you go and use the DraftKings app. They are our sponsor for our podcast and our entire hockey podcast network. We just got done with our very first watch along together, Chris. We did a watch along on the THPN YouTube channel, and that was a lot of fun. What did you think? Just
Yeah, great game to do it on. I mean, awesome come from behind win by the Stars.
So just we're gonna try to make this short, sweet, to the point. Because one, we're tired. Two, it's after midnight. And three, we were on camera for like almost 3 hours. So, what's your initial thoughts coming out of this game tonight, Chris?
My initial thoughts is that we deserved the points and we got them, which we didn't do last game. So it was very good and good again to see us showing the heart that we have the second half of the season and coming from behind in the third period. And even when you and me weren't confident, like we talked about during our watch along in the Stars were still confident in themselves and they got it done and they took care of business in the third period. And it was very well done with some very nice goals. All three of our goals were very good. Anaheim's goals were kind of fluky, and ours were all nice. So we gave them more wiggle room than we would have liked, but we got it done. GG, boys.
As Troy says on Facebook. Thank you, Troy, for listening, man. We appreciate you listening and staying up late with us tonight. All right. Obviously, biggest storyline coming into tonight's game is the fact that Miro Heiskanen is back from mononucleosis. So he no longer he might have mono or some lasting effects on
We
it.
still have it, yeah.
But he is in the lineup for the Dallas Stars in this game tonight. What did you think of his play tonight specifically?
He was very good. We talked about how much we missed him on power plays and just zone entries in general. And man,
Both
he was
were better
all over
tonight.
that. He's just so buttery smooth with the stick handles. He can get around anybody at least one time. He's just amazing. So good. They said in the pregame they're going to try and keep him to 18 minutes. Looks like he got up to 20.
Literally 4
don't
seconds.
love
from 20
that
minutes.
Because mono really is a thing where if you overexert yourself, it's compromising your immune system. So you need to make sure your immune system is strong enough to fight it off. And if he gets too overexerted like that, it could reset him and you'll have to go back on some heavy medication again. So we do want to make sure that he's brought back into it slowly. So that's not great, but it should be fine.
All right, let's go ahead and do our biggest winner and biggest loser for tonight. Do you want me to go first, or would you like to go first?
I'll go first with biggest winner.
Okay, go for it.
Biggest winner is a loser. It's Gibson. Gibson was outstanding. The game should have been 6-2. Honestly, it really should have been 6-2, and he was just outstanding. So many gigantic saves tonight. He was the only reason they were close, especially during the third period when the Stars were just all over him. What a great performance by Gibson.
That was my biggest winner tonight. By far was my biggest winner. And I have to, I mean, how many times did we mention his name in the watch along tonight?
Too many.
I mean, too many times. And I mean, there got to a point to where I literally did this with my mic. I moved it up and I sat there and I went, aha, and screamed at the top of my lungs because I could not believe that he made that save.
I walked away.
Yeah, Chris literally almost walked out of the room. So just, and I feel for the guy. I really feel for the guy. He's a fantastic goaltender. Probably could be winning Vezina trophies.
No,
and he's stuck on one of the worst teams in the NHL right now.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back. He's not one. I mean, they're not down there with Arizona and Seattle.
The second half of the year,
they've been rough, but
the first half was very good. The second half is as bad as it gets. Since we only gave one winner, I had another one in mind too. I'm gonna give it to Jacob Peterson. Game-winning goal was scratched.
2 goals in 3 games.
2 goals in 3 games was scratched just last week. That just shows how ridiculous that healthy scratch was. So, love to see Jacob Peterson scoring that game-winning goal. I would like to see Stu Deachin still, but I'm sure we'll get into that. Hard to make that statement tonight with Fox's first goal, but
Yep, right.
yeah. And then
And
my biggest loser.
I think we
Uh
both have the same one. I have a real obvious one. Can I say mine
yeah,
first?
yeah, we'll let you do the obvious one, I think.
Okay, and you can think of another one.
Yep.
My biggest loser for tonight was once again Alexander Radulov, but not for his defensive miscues, for his offensive miscues. How many times did we say during the watch along tonight, Rad's with an opportunity, Rad's with an opportunity, Rad's with an opportunity? At the end of the second period, I don't know how you don't score that.
And so Radulov had so many opportunities, only 2 shots on goal tonight. Only 2 of them hit the net.
He had more scoring chances than he had
No
shots on
shots on
goal.
goal. Definitely. No doubt.
Yeah, and I mean at least 5. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. At least 5 good scoring chances, and of those 5, probably 2 or 3 should have gone in the back of the net, and one or two of them was just because Gibson was standing on his head and doing Gibson things. But he's my biggest loser tonight.
Yeah. And honestly, in my opinion, just from bad shooting from him. So he's paid $6 million to finish and to score. He's not paid $6 million to get good chances.
Well, Chris, he's not Finnish. He's Russian.
I hate you.
Dad jokes for the win.
My biggest loser will go to Anaheim's defense. There was numerous times where they were just puck chasing, puck watching, and gave us very good chances because of it. So, I mean, that's pretty much how we score both of our goals in the third period, is just from defensemen not being in the right place. So, Anaheim's defense is the biggest loser for me.
All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and get into Troy's comment over here too, because I think it's a good stepping stone to what we could talk about more on Radulov. Not for the lack of trying. Okay, I agree. I can agree with you there. Not for lack of trying. Ease up on my boy. Poor guy just can't get it to connect. They were good chances. Okay, so here's my argument. So I'll go first, and I'll let you see if you agree with me or not, or maybe you'll totally disagree with me. It's great that he's trying hard. You can see that Radulov always tries hard, and sometimes he tries too hard, and it gets him in trouble, and he gets him in penalty trouble.
Which he hasn't done this season, actually. He's done well with that.
I don't know. He still has a lot of penalty minutes, and I don't know. Consistently, I see him in the box, but regardless, that's not the point. The thing that's frustrating with me when it comes to Radulov is the fact that he makes $6 million. Okay, I know he's 36 or 37 or whatever he is, but Joe Pavelski is also older than that and is just as productive.
And is making less money.
Just as productive, more productive, and is making a little bit more money. He's making $1 million more.
He signed for less, though, didn't he?
I don't think so.
What did he sign for? I can't remember. That was last week.
Well, he signed for 5.5 next season, but this season
that's what I was saying. He signed for less when he's producing right now.
Right. And that's the thing that's hard for me to overlook as a Stars fan. And I mean, it's to Radulov's credit and in his defense, it's not just Radulov. It's Ben and it's Sagan too. So the old big three, all three of those guys, it's hard for us not to, as Stars fans, when you look at how much money they make, not to get on them more often.
And you can
is
say,
that a fair argument?
I agree with you on all fronts. That's pretty much what I was going to say. But you can say that Ben and Sagan are worse because they're not even getting chances right now. Mm-hmm. Rads is the one getting chances. And Ben Sagan tonight, pretty much invisible, honestly, in my opinion. They didn't really do much of anything. So that's not good. And I think if a lot of people are saying that we need to scratch Radulov because a couple of times after scratches, he's scored hat tricks. But
or 2 goals. Yeah.
I don't think that's the way to do it because he's still... Nobody else gets the chances that Rads gets. So if you just switch out him and Studenic isn't going to be in those same spots that Rads is in. Rads is just... He is a goal scorer, and he knows where to go to score goals. He's just not getting it right now. He's just not finding the net right now. So scratching him is not going to do anything.
So because that's what I said a couple of games ago, is that Radulov deserved to be scratched.
That was on his defensive miscues. On those, I agreed with. But for offensive miscues, scratch isn't going to do anything. I mean, he's trying as hard as he can out there. He's just missing the net.
And Gibson also did make some big saves
He
on him
stoned him
too.
on one. The other one was the other shot he had. He kind of
Hit
put
the
it right into.
post.
Well,
Or
one he
was
hit
that
the post.
Reginald? Yeah.
Yes, that was Reginald too. But then he had another
Goodness
one that he just
gracious.
shot straight into his logo. So that's why we're a little hard on Rads. But we won the game. Let's stop talking about Rads.
Yep.
Moving on, Roddick fought the fourth line, showing me up. First goal of the game after a pretty good start's first period. Talk about that, Ryan.
Fox, it was just a great. I didn't even realize it went in. For a second, I
Me
thought
neither.
Gibson made the save, and it was actually just a really good. And it's not like he had to do a whole bunch of deking, but it was a good move by Fox, and he tucked it behind him. It was great, fantastic goal by him.
Good pass by Raffle and Glendenning with both the assists. Foxer with a great athletic offensive play. I got to shut my mouth for a little bit on them, I think. That was a great goal. After a pretty good first period as well. The Stars put on a lot of pressure. We talked about how we need to execute when we get that pressure in first periods. They did it tonight. So kudos to them. That's what we needed on the road team.
Yep, I honestly thought we had the better first period than the Anaheim Ducks. I thought we were the better team, and for a while I thought we weren't going to get anything out of that first period because we had chances. We had lots of chances, and that Fox goal was really let off from the power play that we got earlier in the period, and I think that helped us get a little bit. And I also just got to say this too, Vakanainen. That's like the greatest name ever for a hockey player. Plays for the Anaheim Ducks, but anyway, he had a good first period. But anyway, Chris, you want to tell us about the second goal in the second period?
No.
All right, well,
Grant,
I'll do it.
Derek Grant scores from who other than Zegras and
Oh,
Shattenkirk.
that guy. Oh, my gosh.
At 4 minutes. They talked about in the broadcast how this is the first time we played the Ducks since 2020. And
January of 2020.
Yeah, and I hadn't watched a full game with Zegras in it. That dude is legit. He's legit. He's so good. Super creative with the puck. He can fly. It was super fun to watch him.
He reminds me a lot of Kaprizov, but a younger Kaprizov. Kaprizov can make those creative plays and can dangle and do that sort of thing. I think Zegras does it to another level even.
Zegras reminds me of Zegras because he dishes.
Zegras is just Zegras.
I agree he's creative as like Kaprizov is, but he's creative with assists. I mean, he just finds ways to get people the puck, to draw attention to himself, and then dish it off. He's awesome at that. Love it.
And honestly, that goal was just it wasn't even a shot, right? The first one, it wasn't even a shot. It just went off Lindell's skate. And you know, I'm sure they talk about this, that as a defenseman, don't be in that spot. Because you know, and I mean, it's happened a lot for the Stars that, you know, things have careened off of us and have gone into our net. And is that something that we should harp on Lindell for or not?
It has happened to Lindell especially a lot too. But then you go further on in the game and Lindell makes 3 or 4 key defensive plays.
Right. And so he makes up for it. And so you can't get onto him for it.
Yes, he's in the wrong spot, air quotes, but he's so good defensively. He's probably thinking about he probably has a great reason for why he was in that spot too. So yeah, that's it's a lucky goal by them, is what it's going to come down to.
Rads would have another chance about a minute and a half after that. Anaheim would have a chance a minute later. Otter would make a great save. It was Zegras with the shot, of course. And then 11 and a half minutes, Anaheim sent it to the front, and it was just very scrambly. That was one of the words that Razor used. And it wasn't scrambly in the first period, but it was definitely scrambling in the second
period. Opened up a lot, yeah. And
of course, what happens in the period? The Stars lose the period 2-0, right?
Stars are not a good scrambly team.
So the second goal was by Troy Terry, who came out of nowhere. He scores his 31st of the year from Derek Grant and Trevor Zegras. So it's that first line again for the Anaheim Ducks who makes it happen, and they're up 2-1. You know, I know it was. I think they said it was a knuckle puck. Was I think what Josh Bogorod called it. but it was still a great shot. I mean, it hit he tapped the corner with that shot.
Far post and in. Good shot. Probably a little lucky with the little knuckle action because Razor was pointing out how Otter would have had it if he didn't have that drop at the end, which you could see in super slow mo. But yeah, it's still a good shot.
And we should also mention that early on in the second period, the Ducks were on their toes and the Stars were on their heels. 100%.
This whole first 10 minutes, honestly, was mostly Ducks. We talked about that one chance that Rads had, and that was pretty much it between the two goals. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the Ducks were all over us. But then after this Troy Terry goal, that's when it kind of opened up. There's a lot of back and forth and a lot of great saves.
Pavelski would miss the net at one point. Hakanpää actually hit the post. It was actually a pretty good shot by Hakanpää. We don't really get to say that a lot, but it was a good post by him. And it was a good response by the Stars after that goal.
Yes,
it's just why can't we see that when it's tied rather than when the Stars are behind a goal? And I feel like we see that more often when they're behind a goal than when it's tied.
Almost never happens when it's tied. I agree. I noticed Hakanpää shooting a lot recently. Anytime he gets the puck, I love to see a Hakanpää clapper, even just a wrister on net. I think it's a really good thing, especially when he's playing on a D pairing that's not going to be as offensive. Just getting it on net is huge, especially for this team that scores so much in the slot.
Mm-hmm. And, after those two good chances by Pavelski and Hakanpää, the Ducks would actually have a lot of chances here as well. And it was about 3 or 4 shots that 2 got through, and Otter made really good saves on those 2. And then 5:35, just, again, I scream. Gibson, holy crap, makes it an amazing save. 15 seconds later, he does it again, this time against Hintz, one of our best forwards. And then I wrote this too, is in that second period, when it was kind of scrambly, what's this thing that most teams have over the Dallas Stars? It's speed. Just generally throughout their lineup, teams typically have more speed than the Stars do. Now, do the Stars have speed, guys? Yeah, we do. We have Hintz, we have Garionov, Studenic, I would put in that category. I'd say the same thing with Glendening. But that part of the game is really the part of the game that the Anaheim Ducks want to focus on. And with the chaotic nature of that second period and the speed that we saw in that second period, it was full advantage Anaheim Ducks at that point.
Yeah, definitely. That wide open play really played into their style.
Later on, Rads would have a third chance, and at this point, I started keeping track of it. Gibson with a save. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. The Stars were just swarming with a ton of chances. And Pavelski had a chance, and then Gibson. And we should mention this chance as well, that this chance was out of midair. It's not like this was on Pavelski's stick. It was out of midair. Pavelski is able to whack it with this stick with as good as his hand-eye coordination is, and Gibson is still able to make the save. Full windmill, beautiful save. Absolutely amazing. And again, we're saying Gibson's name like 10 times here in the last 10 minutes of the second period, which the Stars did play better in the last little bit of the second period.
Yeah, they really did. I really thought they were going to tie it up in that second period even, but those big saves were crazy by Gibson.
Just insane. If you put that guy on the Toronto Maple Leafs,
that's a scary team.
Yeah, seriously, immediately is a scary team. And no offense to Marc-Andre Fleury or to Jack Campbell, but that John Gibson that we saw tonight on a playoff team is extremely scary. A minute 45, Gibson with more amazing saves, and then 6 seconds remaining in the second period. Rads, with his 4th chance, goes off the post. And then you could see him going off the ice, and he's just completely hacked off.
Yep. Just two off the post for one guy.
Yep. So it was a bad second period, and then it was a good second period, if that makes any sense. It was bad to start off with, and then when Anaheim got their 1-goal lead, then the Stars figured out, oh crap, we have to win this game. This is one of the games we got to win, and they started playing better.
And kudos to the Ducks. They played really well at one point in the game, 10 minutes, the first 2 minutes of the second period, and they capitalized twice, their first line did. So kudos to them on scoring when they had the chances.
And with a goalie like Gibson, you can
You can
probably
win like that
afford to win like
sometimes.
that sometimes. Right. And thankfully for the Stars, that didn't happen, but I mean, he can do that. So going into the third period, Max Comtois, who actually led the Ducks in scoring last year, he's had a rough year this year. He had a chance, but Otter had a good save there. 15 and a half minutes remaining in the third. There was a 2-on-1 for the Ducks, and then this is where Lindell makes up for the off the skate goal. He makes a amazing play defensively, and
Mhm.
we both mentioned it on the watch along while we were watching it. I mean, he was full spread out. It looked like they were going to score. It really did.
Yeah.
And if he hadn't have done that, maybe this game doesn't end up being a 3-2 Stars win. Maybe this is a 3-1, Anaheim lead at this point.
Yeah, it's a huge defensive play. And that's something that like advanced analytics aren't really in Lindell's favor, but that's something that analytics isn't going to show you. A big defensive stop like that in the third period when you need to get going, that's huge.
And it's not like the Stars came out bad in the third period. It was a much more even period than the
Yeah.
second period
The
was, or even
start,
the
yeah.
first period.
The first 5 minutes were pretty even, yeah.
Yes, very much so. And here it is again. Stars go on the power play with about 15 minutes remaining. And Robertson would have a wraparound chance towards the end of it, but it was no goal. Gibson made a good save. And then with 13 minutes remaining, just after the power play expires, Gibson again with two more amazing larceny mastodonic saves, whatever insert adjective here, saves that was just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and
And
at that
then
point, I said that the Stars aren't going to win after those two
mm,
saves. I thought
I believed you.
Gibson was going to build that wall and shut it down. So glad we broke it right after I said that. Go ahead, Ryan.
He's gonna build the wall and make Mexico pay for it, right?
No.
Um, but anyways, Hintz would finally break through after the first goal back in the first period. He would get the goal in the slot. It was from Robo, I believe, and it would tie the game 2-2. And it's exactly what we needed. And it's the same guys coming in with clutch goals for the Dallas Stars.
Great play, great shot, great execution. That's why those guys are the best on the team. And we mentioned when we were getting frustrated because we couldn't score, the first line has to score for us to win games.
And that's
And they did,
exactly what
and we win
happened.
the game. So,
And then here's another big thing that happened right after that goal. The Stars very much started pushing a little bit more, and they're getting a little bit more offensively creative. But when they did that, then their defense started coming in down deeper, and then Otter made two really, really big saves, which kept this game tied. So yeah, maybe Otter wasn't like the greatest. It wasn't like his best showing or anything. He didn't
he
have to
wasn't
be.
tested too much. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna say. He didn't face a bunch of high quality shots, especially after the first period. Well, I guess after the 10-minute mark of the second period. But
Yeah.
when it was needed, he came out big with two big saves, and
He
that's
made a
something
couple of big
we.
saves. He made them at opportune times, which is important. And he's definitely a reason that the Stars won the game tonight.
Anaheim had a mini push right after that, and then finally our man Jacob Peterson, the rookie. He gets his 12th of the season from John Klingberg. So John Klingberg is up on the scoring sheet again. And Peterson gives a up yours to Rick Bonus, his second goal in 3 games. What did you think of the goal?
Crazy. Love that it's Peterson who does it. And every time he gets a scoring chance, he's buried it. I haven't seen a Peterson chance that wasn't in the back of the net. And that's why he has to stay on the ice. Like, if you have a guy that is that good at executing and you're a team that sucks at executing, you got to do it. And just the play by Klinger, too. He drew both guys towards him.
It was a great pass,
And
too. It was a beautiful
I
pass.
think it was on his backhand that he dished it off and got the mini breakaway for Peterson. So, yeah, great play for both of those guys. Like you said, up yours to Rick Bonus from Peterson. No chance he should have ever been scratched on earth. Idiotic decision. That goal proves it right there. He's not going to get scratched for the rest of the season.
He better not. And unless they pull a freaking Cole Caulfield like Dominic Ducharme did in the playoffs. which if that happens, there will be riots from Dallas Stars fans, at least from the hardcore Dallas Stars fans. You, me, Josh, Sam, some other
Everyone
bigger,
here.
everyone here, yeah, everyone here that's staying up with us at 12:30 at night on a school night. So
Everyone on the podcast, even if you're listening to Stars podcast, you're a diehard.
yep,
Sorry if you want to be Fairweather. It's too late now. You've gone too deep.
yep, you're in too deep. Cause I'm in too deep and I'm
Nope.
trying to keep
Demonetized.
the bottom of my head.
Ah!
Instead of going okay,
Oh,
I'm
you're
done.
really gonna get us
All right.
copyrighted.
Anyways, Peterson, that would be a breakaway. It was backhand 5-hole, 3-2 stars. At that point, I'm like, okay, Dallas Stars, you're making me believe, and that's dangerous. Very dangerous. So later on, Suter would have a chance. Believe it or not, and we both said, where did this Ryan Suter come from? Like, he
Yeah.
was in front of the net as a defensive defenseman. He's mostly a defensive defenseman.
No.
But yeah, now he is. But the fact that he was, making some offensive chances, great for him. I love to see that. Need to see
He's
it more.
going coast to coast on that one.
Hintz would have another chance with about 4 minutes remaining, and Otter with some really big saves and 6-on-5. Zegras with a chance at the end. How did he see that? It was a shot that was almost underneath the red line, like in the Stars zone, and it almost creeped over Otter's shoulder and into the net. How?
Off the crossbar. Crazy. I was dumbfounded.
I was completely dumbfounded that it
Befuddled.
I heard it. Confuzzled.
Crazy.
Confoodled.
Stars win the game 3-2 after that miss. Great comeback win by the Stars. Important 2 points. Move back into the second wild card spot with games in hand on Vegas. It's still scary being on the bubble, but you can't really be in a better position on the bubble than the Stars are right now. So we can take some solace in that at least.
Really quick, some comments tonight. And
I got comments I wanted you to bring up. Bring up Ardell's last comment.
Which one?
Dallas Stars are now officially 500 road team. This tweet from Josh Bogorod following tonight's game. The Stars are 12-4-1 in their last 17 road games. That's the 4th best road record in the NHL over that span of time.
And now we can't win at home.
So we talked about how if our roads stuff just becomes average, we'll be a playoff team, and it's been more than average. We've been very good. So we need to win those games in hand, and we'll be perfectly fine.
They mentioned Troy Terry had 7 goals in 48 games last year and 31 so far this year. I got an itch that PD may be on the same route. That's an interesting thought.
That's a good idea. That is a good.
Oh, you know what? I actually had this thought when we were talking about the Peterson goal. But Joe Pavelski is not going to be around forever, right? He's at least around for one more year.
I like where you're going with this.
Which could you see him on the top line with Jason Robertson?
You definitely
and
could.
Hintz?
Kind of the same kind of player. He just kind of ends up in the right place and he finishes every chance he gets. I like it. We'll see. That's a good off-season topic to bring up. So we'll keep that in mind. I also wanted you to bring up Troy Rain's other comment that he made about Hakanpää. Yeah. And this guy was our third pair guy. He doesn't feel like it at all right now. He feels as good as Alexiak was last year, honestly. Maybe less of doesn't have the offense, but his defense and his physicality right now is super strong. He looks super confident. The penalty kill, he's outstanding on, obviously. Been loving him. Great. He might be the best pickup of the last offseason after Holtby's injured. But yeah, great play by him.
Not Holtby's fault that that's not the case. He should be it, honestly, because of the way he's played. But
if he wasn't injured, he would be. But
yep. James, hey buddy, hope you feel better. He wanted to join tonight, but he wasn't feeling good. But anyway, James says it's so nice to see this team believe in themselves again. I feel like we haven't been in this mindset for a long time.
And we've been saying that for the past 20 games. I mean, this team really is just finding ways to win, even when it looks like we found a way to lose. So, and that's something that we talked about that we couldn't do in the beginning of the season. We weren't fighting back early enough. We were waiting until the last 10 minutes of the game to fight back. This team at the 10-minute mark of the second period, we were down. We were like, okay, it can't happen. We can't lose to the Ducks. And they turned it around. They would have turned it around quicker if it wasn't for Gibson. But they did it eventually. They took care of business. They won against a lesser team. Let's do it again on Thursday.
And this really makes me think about some of the games that we've seen recently where they've lost, but they still looked good in the losses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know they lost against the New York Islanders. It wasn't the best game for the Stars, but they still played better than they did in previous weeks. And then the other loss I'm looking at is that Vancouver loss. I mean, Demko was just big for the Vancouver Canucks that night. And I mean, it's not like we didn't have chances. We just didn't bury them that night. So the losses that we're getting in the last week and a half, I would say is really, really good to see.
They've been good losses.
They've been good. It's not like we're handing points away. The loss before that, the Toronto game 4-0, that was really bad. But
that's the only one we could think of in recent memory, really.
Right.
So,
And then the 7-4 New York Rangers loss, that was
weird.
whatever. The Nashville game we lost 2-1. We should have won that game.
Yep.
I mean, again, UC Saros was just really good for them.
And maybe there's something to be said about learning how to win against a goalie who's hot too. Because I mean, Gibson was on. He was just as good as Vancouver's goalie was the other night, Demko. So maybe we're learning how to play against goalies like that too. So like what the Stars are doing recently, feels really good. Miro coming back feels really good.
Does it ever?
Feels like stuff's clicking right now. I like it. We got to take care of business on the. Sorry, real quick before we go to that, it feels good to me because we have bad teams ahead of us too.
Mm-hmm.
We have to take care of that business, though. I mean, the Stars are known to play down to their opponents, and we can't do that. We have to play them like the playoff games because they are. We're not going to get in if we play down to those teams.
The only team in the next 2 weeks, this week and next week, that is above the playoff line that we will be playing is Toronto, and that's next Thursday. And that's it. Every other team for the next 6 games is, under the playoff line. Anaheim, San Jose, Seattle, New York Islanders, the Devils, Chicago. I mean, these are games that statistically we should win because we're the statistically higher team in the Western Conference. So we'll see how that goes. But last comment for tonight, and then we're gonna close up shop a little earlier here tonight. Power play has to improve if the Stars want to make any noise. A defensive team needs to score on special teams, and I agree with you 100% on that. We used to have a really good special teams at the beginning of the season, and it's kind of dropped off in both categories since the beginning of the season.
I would say not even a defensive team needs to score on special teams. A special teams team needs to score on special teams. That's what we were good at. There's no reason why it should have gone down. I mean, honestly, I think Miro's going to help that a lot. Obviously, even the zone entries tonight looked a lot better. We had a lot better chances tonight. Good cycle going. Not a lot of shots, actually, which is concerning. But that's an easy fix. You just say shoot more. So I think it's going to at least get a little bit better with Miro coming back.
Yeah, and we just need to take care of our opportunities when we get them. Because especially on the road when we're a defensive team, I mean, power plays is one of those opportunities that we have to take advantage of. And we need to see that more.
That's going to be our theme until the end of the season. Take care of your opportunities because we have the best opportunity as a team to get into the playoffs as someone in the bubble. We have games in hand, we have a weak schedule, and we have pretty much all of our players healthy now that Miro's back. We're in the best position.
Hobie. Hobie would be the only person you would need back.
Well, and Wedgwood already looks like he's been good. Great. So we have all the right stuff. Take care of your opportunities. That comes down on the guys on the ice. They got to do it, and they can do it, and they should do it.
All right, we'll be back with you guys again on Thursday night. Same thing, same place. Second verse, same as the first. Anaheim at 9:00. We'll be with you guys.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. It's a late game, but we'll get used to it this week, and then it'll get better after that. So
sleep.
It's so nice to not be a part of the the Pacific Division anymore. I know you're too young to remember that,
No, I
but
remember it. I remember it.
it was like,
I remember
all the time.
sneaking the radio into my room so I could listen to the games because I wasn't allowed to. I was supposed to be asleep.
Dad.
Hey, it's too late now. I'm already out of there, bro.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. This has been the after game review for game number 65 against the oh my gosh, the Anaheim Ducks. I'm tired, man. I'm ready to go. Quack quacks. Yeah, that's the other thing they kept doing on the watch along is quack quacks all the time. Make sure you go and use the promo code THPN the next time you go and use the DraftKings app for a special little offer from them. We'd appreciate if you do that. Also, go look at our merch store, StarcasticRemarksShop.com, with some brand new stuff. Some people have been asking about that. You can go and look at that. And if you got anything else, Chris?
GG, boys.
GG, boys. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good evening.